Very hey, Halacha base. We're learning Hilchos Tshuva. Al yaver machshavatecho tovazeh. Do not have it pass through your mind the following: Sho'im tivshei umas oilam, which the the fools of the world say, and many Jews as well, unrefined Jews, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made an edict on a person from when he's born whether he's going to be righteous or not. Now we'll go down to the Peirush. We're going to learn about. Don't say that the ability of leadership is decided from above, what a person will do. The difference between Goyim and Jews, if it's possible for a person to be a tzaddik like Moshe Rabbeinu, if Min HaShamayim was addicted, but that person should be smart or stupid. So if the Rambam starts off, do not think in your mind this thought that a person, that the people who are fools among the nations of the world and the raw uneducated Jew thinks that HaKadosh Baruch Hu edicts on a person from when he's born whether he's going to be righteous or sinner. Ain't a case. This is not the case. Everybody can Leois Tzaddik and Moshe Rabbeinu. Could be as righteous as Moshe Rabbeinu, or Rosh Yerovam, or as evil as Yerovam. Or Chocham Sechel. You are wise or stupid. Or Rachmon Achzori, or merciful or merciless. Or Chili, or stingy. Or Yeshua, or benefactor. The Chen Kol Shar Deis, and all other attributes. And he mentioned them in Hilchos Deis, which will soon be publishing in Yad Hashem. Ve'ein loy mishi rapeu, there's no one who can force him, who can edict, that will pull him to one of the two ways. But he rather, from himself and from his own thought, goes to the way that he so desires. This is what Yirmiyahu says. Yirmiyahu says that Necho, that from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it does not come out the good, the evil and the good. Meaning, a person, kloima. This means ein abayre goizer. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not edict ala odom on a person loylius tevi shouldn't be good, or lius to be evil. Vekim shekenu, since this is the situation. One who sins causes his own loss. Therefore, it's correct for him, for a person to cry and to bewail what he did to his soul, and he caused it to be evil when he sinned. That's why it says afterwards in Echo, what should a person bewail? Only his sins, because he's the one who chose it. The Chozan Yirmiyahu continues. V'oman, he says, we have our abilities within our hands. And we did it of our own volition, all of these terrible things. It is correct for us to tshuva, because now we also have a mission after we have sinned to do tshuva. That's why he writes afterwards, let us search out our ways and investigate them and ad Hashem, and return to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's the difference between the rest of the world, and the people of Israel? The Rambam calls the Umois, fools, and Bnei Yisrael, rawness, untutored. Because a fool, you can't teach him wisdom. But somebody who's untutored, he didn't learn, he could be wise, just he didn't understand it, he hasn't been taught how to do so. He's like pieces of material that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not decree on them whether they should be a tzaddik or Rosh, and they have the choice. And so the Rambam specifically states in Peirush HaMeir and Avos, Shivat Rov Dvorim Begoylom. There are 7 attributes found in one who is stupid. One who is stupid, he has uh, levels of thought and levels of deeds, but they're not complete and they're not being done properly. And the Rambam explains Goylom to mean the word Goylem, like Don HaMelech says in Tilim 139, Kol Muroinecho. When I was untutored, without limbs, and I wasn't complete, I didn't achieve my total completion. I was like a piece of wood before people have fashioned it. Then I already knew that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was God over the world. Can a person be a tzaddik Moshe Rabbeinu mamish? Every person could be a tzaddik Moshe Rabbeinu or Yerovam. That's what the Rambam says. Now, the Rambam calls Moshe Rabbeinu tzaddik, like in Sotah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu writes on him, Tzidkes Hashem also, at the end of Dvarim, the Sefer Dvarim, Mishpat Avim Yisrael, and he did his laws of the Yisrael. And so we find the Mishnah. Great is Milah, that Shlonit Lo Moshe HaTzadik, the word Milah, every word is important. The word Tzadik was placed on Moshe Rabbeinu Molei Shah one time. The Rambam writes that to be a Navi you have to be a Tzadik Gomu. Moshe Rabbeinu was the ultimate of completeness. Therefore, he had the ultimate level of righteousness. That's why we refer to Moshe as the Tzaddik. Yeshuas Malkoi, the Goyin Mikutner asks, can it be that a person should be a tzaddik like Moshe Rabbeinu? That it says, that nobody else will ever be like Moshe. Not only never began again. When the Torah says never came, and we read it today, it means there will never be someone like Moshe. That knew HaKadosh Baruch Hu face to face. And he explains that it doesn't mean with regard to being righteous, but rather with regard to the level of prophecy which Moshe Rabbeinu attained, that can never be attained by anyone else. But everything else, every person can get to the level of Moshe, at least to his working out his own being to be as high as it can reach. And according to him, we understand what the Rambam says in Pirkei HaTzlocha. It's written in the letters of the Rambam. Every person of the world, not only the Jew, if he wants completeness, he should be close to Moshe Rabbeinu. If he wants to lack, then completion, he gets close to being like Yerovam ben Avot. It would seem that you can only get close. You can't be literally like Moshe Rabbeinu. If you want to be righteous, you can only get close. But being a Rasha, here it says Kemoy. By Moshe Rabbeinu it says Korov. By Yerovam ben Avot it says Kemoy. And therefore, you can not be like Moshe Rabbeinu totally, because you'll never reach the prophecy of Moshe Rabbeinu. Tatzal says, we find that Moshe Rabbeinu is called Eved Hashem in Dvarim. So in Yeshua it says, and the Radak explains, someone who places his entire abilities, intent, and everything that he understands in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Even when he deals with this world, he's thinking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's called Eved Hashem. This is what's asked of every individual Jew. Like it says in the Mishnah, all of your deeds should be l'shem Shemayim. And so, even though certainly, if a person will do all of his, as much as he can, for thousands of years, he will not come to the to the ankles of Moshe Rabbeinu. This is because no one wasn't given that ability, inherent ability and understanding of Moshe Rabbeinu. But that doesn't mean that he's any of a lesser being. If he achieves that which he has to, then he has accomplished what he's accomplished. If he utilizes all of his assets, just like we find by an offering of an ani, it's enough that he brings a flower offering, and it's worth as much before HaKadosh Baruch Hu as the offering of an Aisha who brings a large cow or bull. And Abu Chanan brings the Mishnah Menachos that it doesn't matter how we serve Hashem, as long as we do it. You don't measure what a person gathers together his mitzvahs, but rather how his intent is to serve Hashem. And he explains this is what the Rambam means. Everyone can be a tzaddik and Moshe Rabbeinu, but of course according to your abilities, according to your powers. Even though you won't come to be a Moshe Rabbeinu itself, but you will accomplish the same as Moshe Rabbeinu. We'll turn the Omud. Now, Hagor's Maimonides asks questions on the Rambam. Everybody could be wise or stupid. How can you explain that? It says Peirush HaMeir that when a child is being conceived or is an embryo, and there's a certain malach who takes a drop. This is very good according to DNA. He places it before HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he says, what will this person be? Will he be strong or weak? Stupid or smart? So you see that a person is born with certain abilities. How can I'm saying that everybody can be smart or stupid? And he explains Hagor's Maimonides, maybe there's a difference between stupidity and stupidity. That tipish is Gzeira Shamayim. Aval Sechel, meaning there are people who are simple. Right? We call them simple, but they believe in Hashem with a total belief. And that is the ability of every person to achieve. Your IQ may not be as high as somebody else's, yes. But you still have the ability to achieve as much as the other person, because who says an IQ is that important? It's what you accomplish with your life that is important. Hagor's Maimonides adds, Migdal Beiskela Tiers Limei Rabbeinu. The Hagor's Maimonides was a Talmud of the Rambam Rothenburg, who was taken to prison in those days. It wasn't quite the same as our prisons, but still, because their disciples could come, but he was held by the king for ransom from the Jewish community, and he would not allow himself to be ransomed because it was an astronomical amount of money. And he came to learn by him, and he explained to him that it means, the Maharam Rothenburg said that it's in the power of everyone to be wise or stupid, to hold on to his wisdom or his foolishness. And neither we find that it's edicted that you to give him a heart of wisdom or stupidity, but he could change it. It is able to be changed. Rabbi Melech explains that according to Maharam Rothenburg, that if a person is supposed to be at his birth wise or stupid, but if he chooses to go in the way of the wise, then it will be given to him. Now, Rabbi Melech cites the Rambam in the beginning of Ovis again, who says it's impossible that a person cannot change his ways. And a person can't be born wise, just like a person can't be born to be a craftsman. But through utilizing the abilities that he's given to him, then he can come to accomplish. And therefore, even though to begin with he may be without thought, is what today in learning disabilities we find people who are therapists who help people overcome their disabilities. And that's the idea as well here, that every person can become greater than his initial abilities seem to give him. Because the Mishnah cites Hagos B'Shem Ramach, and he asks what he writes, that the stupidity is only with regard to Yerushalayim, meaning he chooses not to have fear of heaven. He questions it because the word sechel doesn't seem to refer to how he acts in his life. Because sechel literally means stupid, and it's not a direct opposite of wisdom. Because if sechel means that he's not a Yirei Shamayim, he doesn't fear heaven, then why is a chocham the reverse of it? Other commentaries explain that Shlomo HaMelech calls Rosha Ksil, as someone who's stupid, and the Rambam brings it from the Posuk, V'roya Ksilim Yerua. As we mentioned earlier, we learned about it before, that somebody who's with evil people will become evil. Because the Mishnah cites from Shechocham means Yirei Shamayim. It does mean Yirei Shamayim because it says Reishis Chocham Yiras Hashem. The first wisdom is Yiras Hashem. So we see that a Chochma is called Yiras Hashem. We have to ask a question. If the concept of wise or foolish has to do with the person's approach to fear of Hashem, why does he repeat his words? But he writes, every person could be a tzaddik or a rasha, and then he says, if they're referring to the same thing. And even if we'll say that tzaddik or rasha is actions, Aviyos Hashem is the attitude and the belief of a person, and he has choice, like in the Gemara in Brochos 33b, everything is in the hands of heaven except for Yerushalayim. That the Kotzker explained that if heaven wants to give it, they'll give it, except for Yerushalayim, that everybody who so desires, you have to give it to that person. And we find in the Divrei Rambam that even though it's before birth, it's decided whether a person will have great capacity or not, but he can always change that through effort and work to know and to understand our Torah. The Mishnah Kesef cites the Gemara. Amar Bitzok, if a person says, I searched but I did not find, do not believe him. Vice versa, I didn't work and I did find, don't believe him either. Only when a person puts in effort and he finds, then he's believed. That's referring to Divrei Torah. But when it comes to business, there's a special siyata d'shmaya that people can have from heaven given to them even if they're not actually doing work. But by Divrei Torah, he only mentioned it to push people in order to have them think, but to decide the Halacha, Rashi explains that too is a special siyata d'shmaya. There are some people who try and they don't come to the correct conclusions. The Mishnah Kesef cites a posuk, and in the heart of every Chocham Levin Zati Chochma. In the heart of by the building of the Mishkan, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, in the heart of every wise person I gave wisdom. That it doesn't mean that he will become wise, but somebody who has a nature to be a wise man and he works at it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him extra wisdom they should find, and it shouldn't be forgotten. For even a wise person can be lax, he doesn't want to work. How somebody who's not wise, if he will work, he'll find at times more than the wise person as well. So the Mishnah Kesef thus cites that the Lashon Rambam is like the Maram Rottenberg. That we mentioned, don't think HaKadosh Baruch Hu cites that a person from his birth is going to be righteous or rasha, and he doesn't mention Chocham or Sechel. At the end he writes that every person could be a tzaddik like Moshe Rabbeinu or Rosh Kirovam, And then he adds the word Chacham Sechel. So what is he referring to? That means that there's no edict that was made. He should have the desire to be a tzaddik Yeroshim. That he has a choice, but how much of an IQ he has, or how quickly he grasps something, that is from birth. And if he wants to have more wisdom, he has to work at it, or he will have a learning disability that he'll have to work even harder. But still, everyone is capable of achieving that which he was created for in this world.